Hello and welcome to this Argos multilingual webcast. In this webcast we'll explore what Simplified Technical English is and its benefits. So what is Simplified Technical English? Simplified Technical English, often abbreviated to STE, is a system of controlled writing based on the principles of the ASD STE 100 standard. The standard was developed by the Aerospace and Defence Industries Association in the 1970s in order to simplify aircraft maintenance documentation and eliminate safety risks introduced by non-native mechanics working on aircraft worldwide. STE is a regulated standard that we've adapted to suit other industries. Deviations are required because the original standard was not designed for industries outside of aerospace. At Argos, we've taken the core principles of STE, including rules, vocabulary and dictionary building, and made them applicable to all content. This means we can help companies in multiple industries from banking to medical implement STE-like processes and put them to use over all types of documentation from technical and even in some cases to marketing. The original STE standard follows 57 language rules. They limit the ways in which authors can create content, and they help to enforce controlled writing. These rules include vocabulary restrictions with a core vocabulary of about 900 words. But there's the option to add thousands more company-specific terminology and names meaning a personalized dictionary for any industry where each word normally only has one meaning, helping to avoid ambiguity. This is especially important when you're writing instructions with commands and using words like close that can have multiple meanings, or technical words like engage that is better substituted with start. In critical situations, this type of ambiguity creates risk. STE helps to eliminate that risk. So why simplify, and why simplify English? This is because English is the most popular business language. Of course, there are more Chinese speakers in the world, but most are in a single market. English, on the other hand, is used worldwide, often by people whose native language is not English. This makes English very prone to mistakes and inconsistencies. Writers often explain their ideas in complex ways, creating a breeding ground for ambiguity and mistakes. This ambiguity can then actually be made worse by a large English vocabulary. There are many complex grammar rules, synonyms, and even mutually exclusive words like flammable and inflammable. Plus, it's part of human nature to write too much. Pride of authorship leads people to overwrite and overwhelm the reader with too much content. With STE, though, every word you write is controlled. You can't use a word unless it's approved. STE's rules also control the way you write. For example, sentence length is controlled, meaning you typically can't write more than 25 words per sentence. Hence, STE is great for cutting down your content, often by as much as 25%. This reduces the words that need to be published or translated. There are also more repetitions, content is easier to understand for the translator. All this makes translation faster. What's more, if you have a service call center, another side benefit is that you'll receive fewer calls from confused customers. People will be able to read and follow the instructions easily, greatly reducing the need for call support. As well as saving on publishing and translation costs, all of your content will be consistent in style and vocabulary, and your writers will use fewer words. Their work speed should increase too. Your docs will avoid common problems such as where a device is called a device on one page, a unit on another, or a machine on the third, confusing the reader. STE can help you create modular content for content management systems. So what is the overall cost reduction from using STE? Of course, this does depend on the type and quality of documentation you already have, but you can get up to a 25% volume reduction, which can mean up to 35% reduction in translation costs. The STE standard contains 7 golden rules, which we've adapted to suit all industries. For example, rather than writing in a passive voice saying things like, when using this device, always make sure to first extend the antenna in an upright position, STE forces you to write in an active voice. Using an active voice, the earlier sentence becomes, always extend the antenna when using the device. This mostly applies to instruction-type content, where you should always use the active tense. To eliminate convoluted language, STE forces you to keep procedural sentences shorter than 20 words and descriptive sentences to fewer than 25 words, as well as less than 6 sentences per paragraph. The idea is to explain and move on. This actually forces the writer to explain ideas more slowly in a measured fashion, rather than all at once in a single long sentence. STE uses a dictionary of only approved words, which, although allowing for some synonymy, encourages each word to have only one meaning. The last two rules are about paying attention to the reader. Make sure your reader is not confused with your content. STE helps to control your word choice selection and writing style, even voice. Because of this, STE can adapt to technical, legal, financial, or even marketing content. So what's needed for an STE-like implementation? It's not enough simply to read about STE. Your team will need hands-on practice, training and experience. Argos can put you in touch with experienced industry trainers who go over all the key aspects of the standard, illustrate practical approaches and help your team to practice using their own content. Once your writing team has the basics, the next step is to build a terms dictionary for your content. You need to publish an internal list of all the preferred names you want to use and a thesaurus of all the unapproved words you don't want people to use when writing. Then you'll adapt a style of writing that will be modified for your company and industry. Once complete, your team is ready to start writing in simplified English. When writing, you can use Checker software that can highlight problematic sentences and poor word choice. We'll explore checkers more later on in this webcast. Lastly, Argos can offer supporting services and consultancy, including revision, follow-up trainings, assistance in migration between languages, or even CMS integration. Once your team has been trained, the next task is to build a dictionary. To do that, we first need to define an approved terminology list. Argos has a set of tools that we use for text mining. The trick here is to identify the technical terms used in your documentation. That's especially true for compound nouns like hardware or painkiller, or the term text mining. They're regulated by the standard and should be no longer than 4 words in length. The standard doesn't try to change existing standard terminology, and there is room for discretion on the part of the writer. The standard simply helps writers to keep each term below 4 words. During text mining, we'll try to identify what those words are, expose them, and add them to the dictionary of the checking tool. Once the dictionary is built, it belongs to the customer who then maintains it. This means that your writing department keeps a company-specific dictionary that they consult and add to and spread across the company. Let's look now at some examples of how writing can affect your documentation. Here you can see how a typical instruction manual is written. Notice how it starts out on the left, naming all the products, MP3250, etc. But in the new STE version to the right, the text is reduced by simply referring to the different products as a projector. In the text on the left, the instructions are lengthier and in some cases redundant. However, once STE principles are applied, the same text can be trimmed down by over 30% while keeping all the relevant information intact. The amount of word reduction will differ based on different content types and its original quality, but you might typically expect up to 30% reductions. All word count reductions, however, directly influence your bottom line. Anytime you reduce text volume, you decrease your publishing and translation costs. When you look at the content on the right, you're not actually translating what's on the left. Instead, you're clarifying it, and that's the whole point of STE. So while this example is from Consumer Electronics Manual, it illustrates STE in action and how it can be applied to instruction-type documentation from any manufacturing, IT, or even medical industry. As we mentioned earlier, once STE is implemented, we can help you choose a checker tool that's right for your business. Checker tools work alongside the writer in a similar way to spell checker tools like Microsoft Word. The software automatically highlights problematic word choices. For example, it'll highlight when you use verbs like rotate, where turn is the approved term. The software will propose changes and highlight poor sentence structure, but it's ultimately up to the writer to decide whether the sentence is in fact correct or not. The point is, checker software is there to help rather than to do the work. It's like a coach that offers advice, but it won't do the work for you. Overall, it helps to speed up the writing process while making sure that STE rules are followed across your content. Argos will be happy to help you decide on the right checker software for your publishing program. We can help you to determine your objectives and establish your technical requirements, and based on your needs, we can propose a few options. Of course, you can write an STE without checker software, just as you can write documents without using a spell checker. But checker software spots all those little mistakes which end up being noticed and which cause problems. So to summarise, we spoke of STE implementation, what effect it can have on your business. We talked about customising STE for your industry. We can help to integrate STE with your authoring environment, including content management systems, and we can help to choose the right checker tool for your needs. Overall, with STE, you will clarify your content, reduce your printing and publication costs, and that will end up producing savings on translation. Thank you for watching our webcast. For more information on how we can help your business to grow, visit us at www.argosmultilingual.com.